What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Verified AMA. I'm your host, Lawton Ho, here with Verified Investing, and I go live every single day. The markets are open from 12:30 to 1:15 to answer all of your questions. As always, feel free to give me a follow on Twitter at Lawton Investing, or X now it's called. You can always send me a DM if I'm not currently live and you have any additional questions about any stocks, charts, etc., etc. So how's everybody doing today? I hope you're all doing well. Yeah, go ahead and give us a thumbs up, a like, and subscribe if you want to see more of this content. And if you want to ask questions, okay, if you want to ask questions to me, you can do so by scanning this QR code down below, or by visiting the verifiedinvesting.com homepage and expand that watch and ask, right? You can ask me questions right there. You can watch me live. We can interact together, chat together. Hopefully, get some, hopefully I can help you guys. But anyways, how's everybody doing? Let's hop right into it. I want to show you guys, because this is crazy. Look at the price action from today. This is price action from today, and what happened? Well, excuse me. Things were chilling, and then over here, it was announced that Trump talked to Republican lawmakers yesterday about potentially firing JP. Price got crushed, pushed back up, and then the White House official says that Trump is considering firing JP. Markets dropped almost 1% off of that news, creating this beautiful, and this is of course in the 1 minute, inverse head and shoulders pattern. Now with the head and shoulders pattern, let's see that measured move. Where's it at? Measured move back up to 624. I mean, didn't fully go there, but went about 50% of the way. But yeah, pretty nice. About a 0.5% move up higher is the measured move. But anyways, let's just hop into some of these questions that I see. I see here, Gangsta says, what are your thoughts on silver? Let's take a look at silver. So what happens when the markets kind of freak out, right? Investors run to safe haven assets such as gold and silver. And let's take a look at the daily. This beautiful actual topping tail here on silver, favoring a move down. Silver tried to go up, but when the markets rebounded after Trump said that he wasn't actually going to fire JP, we see this action. Here's what I think on silver. So you had this down move, sideways consolidation. This could be the beginning of a bearish formation, bearish pattern starting to form right here on this silver. Okay. Let me see what other questions you guys have for me. Nathan says, I hope you talk at length about your Bitcoin short call to 107. I'm short Bitcoin, so in line with that, but very numerous, but very nervous about betting Bitcoin will fall, eager for reassurance. But specific, my question, what does it look like now? All right, let's take a look at Bitcoin, okay? So yeah, you guys know that generally I have been fairly bullish on Bitcoin, right? Particularly when I saw this inverse head and shoulders, I actually went long some of the altcoins because Bitcoin looked bullish. But here's why I'm starting to be bearish on Bitcoin. We had this beautiful, similar to silver, beautiful topping tail. Now we want to kind of see a sideways consolidation and then a drop. This could be the beginning of a bearish pattern on Bitcoin. And there's this trend line that I just drew from the highs a couple of days ago to the highs in the 22nd of May. Should price get up there, I think there's going to be some resistance. It could be anywhere between 123 to 124. But in general, I expect Bitcoin to pull back to around 107 is around my target, right? Just to back where the move. Not a huge fall, right? Would be about a 9% fall from this area, right? So not the biggest fall, but a decent fall. And I just want to say, guys, thank you so much for joining me and asking questions and sitting here with me every single day. It's honestly a privilege to me, and I feel grateful that I'm able to provide some sort of value to all of you guys, that you would take time out of your day to care about what I have to say. Donovan says, what are your thoughts on Palladium moving forward? Good question. So Palladium for me will run into resistance here at this double top, 1245, right? It's tried today, got as close as high as 137. You saw a pullback from that level. Basically, where it's pulled back from on Monday as well, right? And we saw a nice 5% drop on Palladium, but this is the next level of resistance on Palladium. If you took a Palladium, it's pretty far down on the chart. So does it favor a move to the upside? Absolutely. But it has to get over a couple key levels, has to come over. And you see this is basically the triple top. So I'll go in a little closer. Let me delete this top one. You see this 1, 2, this would be the third hit of this line. You saw that it kissed it. Should it come up there and hit it? I do expect a pullback just because on the third hit of these lines, you expect a pullback. Fourth hit, you expect a breakout. It's a general rule of thumb. I didn't make it up. I don't make the rules. But because we're consolidating right below it, it could be poised for a break up. Okay? Poised for a break up. Let's see here. Nathan wants to look a Riot USD. No, just Riot in general, Riot platforms. Where does it look like? What does it look like now? It's hard for me to say what it specifically looks like. It popped up. I can give you some levels of support and resistance on this smaller company, not something I've previously looked at or traded before. It's important I disclose that. Up 4% today. You're going to find support, of course, at the gap fill from yesterday's close. This pivot low here, pivot low here, gap fill here. These are the levels that I anticipate a potential bounce on Riot. As far as levels of resistance, you're pretty far beaten down, right? So yeah. For me, resistance to the upside. So you're going to take this pivot high, of course. Additionally, you're going to take this high here and this gap fill up here as 3 levels that Riot could run into resistance. I gave you tons of support and resistance levels, so hopefully that's helpful to you. You can take a screenshot or go back in the recording and take a look and see these. Okay. Louis is saying, got into stocks. Basis is 713. What do you think on an exit strategy? Well, yeah, yesterday was an amazing time to get in because we got all the way up today, all the way up to 779. Couldn't quite reach 80, right? That's going to be your first major resistance level. But dude, great to see. For my exit strategy, I'm looking to exit somewhere around $8 and then every 50 cents thereafter, right? My average is around $7.98, I believe, on stocks. So I'm just going to take profits at $8 and every 50 cents thereafter. Daniel, yep. Those are, it's hard for me to chart resistance levels in stocks because it's an inverse leveraged ETF, so it's kind of difficult. But anyways. Luis says, "How long? Thanks for doing this. Carvana keeps climbing. What are your thoughts on a short?" Absolutely. Let's take a look. Okay, so here's what I previously said or drawn on my Carvana chart. I said Carvana could be looking kind of bullish, right? I had this down sloping trend line, and we actually gapped up and are pushing higher, an amazing higher. So my next level of resistance, if you really wanted to short it, Luis, personally, I would wait into this 377.53 level. You can see that I took this level from the previous highs, all-time highs, not too far away, right? Only about $20 away, so about 5% higher. That's where I'd be interested in writing a short. But I did draw this on my chart previously and said that it looks kind of bullish, right? Just because you have this down-sloping trend lines that it wants to break up and out of. Now, bullish patterns at the top. Hold on. This is a teachable moment. I forgot about it. This is one of today's teachable moments. Okay, bullish patterns at the top of the charts are less likely to play out. But does that mean they're not going to play out? Absolutely not. No, they can still play out just as in this case. See, Carvana is near the top of the charts, all-time highs right here. I saw this bullish pattern just because this sideways downward consolidation, this trend line wants to break higher, bullish, right? Same thing with Bitcoin, right? I knew Bitcoin was going to go higher because I saw this inverse head and shoulders pattern look so bullish to me. Bullish popped up despite Bitcoin being at the top of the charts, despite it being at all-time highs, despite Carvana being close to its all-time highs. This pattern looks bullish. So for me, I'd be interested in starting a short position about $20 higher at the previous all-time highs. Hopefully you guys enjoy that teachable moment. All right. Esther says, can you please look at IQ and Citigroup C? Thank you and appreciate it. Absolutely, Esther. And as you can tell, my allergies are gone. So thank you for your recommendations, Esther. I really appreciate that. So IQE, I'll be honest with you. Bullish, right? I'm bullish on this. This is the Chinese Netflix. Chinese version of Netflix. I know I'm bullish. Gareth is bullish on this, and in general bullish on some of these Chinese stocks. Kind of a smaller company, smaller market cap, but we're bullish on it. Here's what you want to watch. Over here, down sloping trend line. If we can break up and above it, I'm looking and targeting a move up here to at least $2.19, about $20 higher. This would be my general target. Let me remove some of these. Yeah, if we can break above this trend line, this would be my target, $2.19. As far as Citigroup is concerned, it's earnings season, right? And in the case of Citigroup, they had earnings, I believe, yesterday. Yep, yesterday. And they had a great day, pretty good day on earnings, gapped up, continued higher. Kind of falling back now, falling back down to earth. Question is, where does Citigroup catch a bid? Where does it catch support? And this is the very first level I'm looking at. It's obvious. I see it. You see it. We all see it. Citigroup sees it. It's the gap fill, right? If Citigroup can break down and break this level, it's likely to fall further. Because why? This buildup is kind of an anticipation, for the earnings, building up to the earnings. But then, right, you see this drop right here on Citigroup. Man, if it can reverse this, that means that the earnings were not enough to prop it up. Were not enough to keep it up, and were not enough to keep the bullish sentiment going. Despite, let's take a look at their financials. I'm no expert in this, but they surpassed earnings expectations and revenue expectations. You have to think that their guidance were positive. That's why they continued higher. But if they can break this, that could spell another down move for Citigroup. John says, can you take a look at Okta? Absolutely. Trying to stay in at $96. Buy price averaging and getting out. So my next ad would be down here around $87 and 14 cents. I had these support and resistance levels earlier. I guess the support, it did bounce 4% off of, but this level right here, this gap fill down here on 87.14 support level, that's where I expect a bounce on OKTIA. All right, next question. Jamie or Jaime said I asked A out about Tether. Tether's options comply with Genius Act, withdraw from U.S. market, launch a separate U.S. compliant stablecoin. Tether has a history of resisting full audits and transparency, which puts it at risk of being banned from the U.S. market if it doesn't adapt. That's interesting. Tether, though, is USDT specifically, is like the most commonly used stablecoin, right? So it'd be kind of difficult to ban them unless they say Coinbase and all these other things need to use USDC instead of USDT. So interesting. Renica says, hi, Lawton. What's up, Renica? Hope you're doing well. Thanks for your time. You're welcome. Thank you for your time coming in. Please take a look at Archer. I'm looking for a good entry to hold long. For Archer, you're looking for a place to go long on Archer Aviation. Okay, for Archer Aviation, for me, I have this down-sloping trend line, kind of broke out of, right? Try to break out, failed breakout, broke up out of it, off to the races. First level of resistance would be this gap fill, Gap fill around here, around 1172. This is where I would likely go long. If you see a retrace, I would like to re-enter on this trend line, right? Maybe at a pullback to this trend line, I'd be interested. Okay. 1, 2, push up. I would enter here around $10.50, wherever it retraced to this trend line. And then look for another move higher. So if you absolutely wanted to and had to enter this, that's where I'd enter it on a retrace to this down-sloping trend line. Arnaud, says, hi, hope you're doing well. You too, Arnaud. Mancula says, hey, Lawton, thanks for answering questions. Of course, happy to do so. I've made a parallel on Bitcoin. Can you please check? Yeah, let me check your chart. Yeah, the parallel looks good. I like it. It's nice. On the bottom, you don't really have that many hits to the bottom side. You have one hit and then a kiss, right? So the only thing I would say that it is that it you got to be careful of that. But for me, see if I can find one. Parallel, Bitcoin. Yeah. Let's see here. There's something better. Okay. So I'd like this parallel channel a little bit better. So 1, 2 hits, and then 1 hit, and then kind of hitting it there. I mean, still though, you see there's not enough price action to make it a good parallel, but it's okay. You just got to be careful on the hits on the bottom. Arnaud saying, I'm stuck with many levels short in Robinhood. Any reverse bearish finally to come? Shall I unload? So for me, Robinhood, look where it pulled back. 1 hit, 2 hit, 3 hits. So this is the area of resistance on Robinhood. I expect to pull back on Robinhood here. Depends on what your average price is on Robinhood. Do I expect Robinhood to pull back? 100% absolutely. I believe Robinhood is favored to pull back. But the question is, when will Robinhood pull back? Right? When? And that's a really tough question, right? And when it does pull back, where is it going to fall to? Right? My target for Robinhood, and it depends on your cost basis, right? My target for Robinhood is currently this gap fill at around 91.27, right? So that's where I'm targeting. But yeah. All right, next question. Vic says, I have a question about performance tracking. The VI services handle it when there are multiple entries on a position. For example, if you have 4 separate entries on a stock in different prices and then half the position is closed out, is this tracked using FIFO, or do you apply a blended average cost to calculate performance on the exit? Thanks, as always. That's an amazing question, Vic. I would say that I would say no. We don't use FIFO or LIFO, right? It doesn't really matter. We're using a blended average, right? If I buy a stock at $100 and I buy the same amount of shares at $50, my average is going to be $75. If I cover any of those shares, right? If I sell any of those shares at $75, like that's the price where if I sold everything, I'd be break even. So we're using that to calculate it, like total P&L. We don't care about P&L for specific positions. We only care about the end P&L. Okay. Daniel says Blowfin has 2 different types of leverage, which you use. We just use the regular. I'm not sure quite what you mean by that. Let me check Blowfin though. But let me check here. For leverage. Oh, you mean we just use the, I'm trying to log into my Blowfin. Sorry, guys. I want to answer your question. My password. Yeah. I'm not sure. We just use the default one. Our next question, MD says, "Hey Lawton, good day. I'm in a short position after daily very bottom topping tail formation daily candle. Do you think that it has a good chance to break out with the bull flag that's formed?" Which stock are you talking about? You said you're a short position, MD. You're talking about Bitcoin or what? Stocks coming in. Short position on the NASDAQ. I mean, we're pretty, in general, we're bearish on the NASDAQ, so we do anticipate it coming in. I can tell you that we're short it currently, if that gives you any comfort. All right, let's see. Jason says, "Is there a time limit in using trend lines to predict the future price potential? How far can one project the prices?" It could be anything. You can draw, like if I go to the weekly, like I could literally, like we can go from this NASDAQ from March of 2000 to right here, right on the weekly. What did we see? This trend line provided some resistance. It chopped around it and it fell. Right, this is a trend line dating back to the 90s or 2000s. Right, you see where price bounced on this trend line so many times and has traded around this incredible trend line from the year 2000. Trend lines don't really have a limit in general. Sarah says, "How are you, Lawton?" What's up, Sarah? How to measure time frame of measured move in XRP, inverse head and shoulders. Thanks for a great teaching. Absolutely no problem. Time frame, I'm not sure. Like, there's not really a specific time frame that it has to be. Like, just know that the longer, like the longer that this distance is between one shoulder to the other shoulder is, right, in this case from 27th of January to 7th of July, the bigger that is, the longer it may take. But yeah. Let's see here. We're going to be live for the next 15 minutes, guys. In the next 5 to 10 minutes, we're going to do something called the rapid fire round, where I'm going to answer a bunch of your questions back to back. So go ahead and get in. Sorry about that. Go ahead and get in your questions. Scan the QR code down below. Ask your questions, and I'll do my best to answer them. Okay? Might get a little crazy. Aaron says, good morning, afternoon. I would love your insight on dips. It's a short NVIDIA ETF through options that always pays. Okay, there's a light that just, I had a cover on a light that's just all of a sudden fell. So I'm like kind of blind right now. Well, I'm so blind. Okay. Dips. It's a short NVIDIA through obviously it pays a tax advantage dividend in the form of. All right, so let's take a look. So this is short NVIDIA. We got to look at the NVIDIA chart. I've never traded that before. I've never looked at dips. Not familiar with it, but NVIDIA, I do expect it to come down to at least this gap fill. This is my current target for NVIDIA. I think it should fall further though, right? Overall target is down below 150 actually. But NVIDIA's trying to close green here, trying to be green here. So we'll see if yeah, thank you, Ryan. Tech team is in here. I'm like so blind right now. Okay. Wow. Thank you. Thank you, Ryan. Okay, I can't see anything. But yeah, I do expect NVIDIA to fall. Favors a down move. John says, hi, Lon. You do a great service to all of us. Thanks so much for coming in, and thank you for your kind words. A bit of an answer to Vic's question on when to sell. Normally, broker does first in and first out. However, I learned the hard way and got hit with unrealized gains when I sold a position too soon. Depending on the broker you're using, you can ask for specific stocks to sell in order to avoid a taxable trigger. You will need to call them in advance of the order, and they can do that for you. Okay, amazing. Amazing answer there, John. Hopefully you got that pick, but thanks, John, for chipping in. And that's what it's all about, right? It's not just me. Like, I don't know everything, excuse me. I don't pretend to know everything, but I do my best, right? I do my best to provide some sort of value. Tyler says, what's your read on MicroStrategies? Short or bluff or shorting Bitcoin? Kind of, but then you're like kind of like you're like doubling down, right? You're pretty much doubling down. Do I think MSTR favors a pullback? 100%, absolutely. But to where? That's the question. If Bitcoin really falls significantly, I could see this thing all the way down here, down to like 373, right? Or even further, 367, right? It could be shortable, but like if you're already shorting Bitcoin, why do you need to short a bad proxy of Bitcoin, which is essentially what MicroStrategy is, right? There are also ETFs where you can just buy like BITI, BITI, and these are short Bitcoin ETFs, so you can just buy that instead. Michael says, are you still joining the options trading service? Yes, I am. 100%, absolutely. Daniel says we're getting resistance after this big move, question mark. We're getting resistance. Yeah, I mean, it's crushed past all my resistance levels. My next level of resistance is 1839. That is the area that I will short Rigetti most likely. Keep those questions coming, guys. Sarah says, thanks, Lon. Absolutely. When will Znog fill the large gap at 11 cents from May 2nd, 2025? Thank you. Okay. Not something I've ever traded before. Very small company. Not something I have much on. When is it going to come down to here? That's 40% down. Your guess is as good as mine. I wish I could tell you, Sarah, absolutely when this is going to come down, hit this, and play out perfectly. But I just don't know, right, to be honest. I'm not sure. But if this is an oil and gas company, you got to take a price, look at the price of oil and gas. So anyways, yeah, sir, I don't know when it's going to fill that gap, or if it even does. I don't know enough about the company, so I couldn't really tell you. But how about this? If you send me a message on Twitter, at my Twitter at Lawton Investing, I can do some more research and send you and let you know what I think. Okay, I'll do some research into the company. But all right, next question. Elif says, hello, I've been interested in signing up for either day trading service or swing trading service and wanted to know about how long does one have in order to enter a trade shared that day in the trading room, or swing trades that are shared. The trades shared in a day trading room, how quick are the trades, how quick are the entries, and how quick do the trades last for? Are stop shared as well? With entries, I tried seeing this on your investor day, but I'm still not clear how it works out. Okay, a lot of question there. Great question there. So let me answer that specifically. For first, I want to say thank you for considering signing up for one of our services. We don't take it lightly that you're trusting us, essentially, trusting us to provide you service that can provide value for you, right? So we know how hard you've worked for your money. So anytime you're willing to invest it in us, we sincerely appreciate it, and we consider it a privilege. Second of all, for day trading, I'll tell you, and each trader is different. So the traders in the live day trading room are myself, Dr. B, Gareth, of course, Benjamin Poole, Drew Dosick. That's 5. That's it. It sounded like there was going to be one more, but that's it. There's 5 of us. And we're the ones giving trades in the live day trading room. And we all give trades a little bit differently, but I can tell you exactly how I give my trades. So I almost got into this trade today. It never quite hit my level. So you can see here, I told everybody that this was my level on Baidu, right? On this Chinese company, Chinese eBay, essentially, at 85, 87. I told them exactly, right, where my entry is going to be. So you can go ahead, go to your brokerage and enter that in. Go in and type in BIDU, and you can enter your entrance there. So sometimes you have some time to enter it. Sometimes, I'm not going to lie, it's very quick, right? But as soon as I get in, I would tell you I'm looking for a bounce, $1 to the upside, right? To around 857, let's say, right? Then, or 887. I can't, 886, 87. I can't even talk right now, right? So then you just go to your brokerage and put that in, right? You go ahead and put that in. So, and I'll tell you, I'll add to my position at $1 lower, $84.87, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. That's pretty much how it's going to work. We'll tell you also what percentage of our account value we're going to put into it. So let's say I'm trading an account with $100,000 or $50,000, right? I'm day trading with an account of $50,000, and I tell you I'm going to enter a 1/10 position. 1/10 is just 10%, right? So 10% of my 50K, $5,000. So I will buy $5,000 worth of Baidu shares at 85, 87, right? So it's kind of like that. We tell you way ahead of time where we're going to enter, where we're going to exit, where we're going to add. And I in particular try very, very hard to essentially make that as clear as possible. Additionally, you're going to be able to see on the side of your screen our current open positions and closed positions. And I can actually, I'll give you guys a freebie. I'll let you take a look at today's, what it's going to look like. I can show you today's live day trading room. Take a look at this. So this is what it's going to look like, right? You can see we're not in any positions right now, but if you're in a position, it'll tell you the stock ticker, whether we're short or long, our price, our exit, and our P&L, right? We're up 6K today. Not a bad day. Here you can see our leaderboard for our traders. for the past 30 days. Our track our performance. You can sort by 7 days. You can check our performance, check yesterday's performance. You can check for this quarter, right? Our performance for this quarter and our performance for last quarter, right? Track our performance for this quarter and last quarter. You see Gareth made $177,000 last quarter, and I'm stuck at 48.5. But you can see the trades given as well as the win rate for each of us. As you can see, I had a pretty good quarter last quarter, 90% win rate, 93 trades given. But, all right, anyways. So that's all you get in the live day trading room. All right. Next question. Derek says, what's up, Derek? How's it going? Good day, Lon. Yay, Boyle. Dude, Boyle is up a bit. Yeah, nice. Let me check on the daily. Yeah, you called it, right? You called it. Boyle was up like 5% I saw earlier, so and I sold it, right? So thanks to your call, I made some money, Derek. So thank you for that. But yeah, great job. How about a long on Lyft? Are you just like a genie? Are you gonna pop in every day and just give me a trade that I should probably take? That was a great call. So on Lyft for me, let's see this. Let's see if we got anything good here on Lyft. Have this down sloping trend line. We know I love these trend lines, down sloping trend lines, and like playing them. It's not working properly. Don't love that one. Let's see here. Let's just go a little bit closer on Lyft. For me, for a long on Lyft, it would probably have to come down to this low pivot. Would be the first place I'd consider going long on Lyft, probably around $14.19, and look for an add about $1 lower, right? Look for $1 profit, add every dollar. That's what I would pretty much look on Lyft. Wow, okay, it's already 1:13, so we didn't have time for a rapid fire round. But then again, I answered all the questions that I see already. So if you guys have any more questions, please feel free to send me a message on Twitter or X, as it's called now. And my X handle is at Lawton Investing. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you guys had for me, even if I'm not currently long. So yeah, Sarah, if you send me a message, I'd be glad to look at ZNOG and give you some more in-depth analysis there. All right, so we have about 1 or 2 minutes left. If you guys have any final pressing questions, I'll be happy to answer them. But if not, it's okay. We had a pretty good session, a little bit of a more chill session today. Let's check the markets. Oh. Yeah, SOXS coming up and falling back down. Wow, crazy, reversing this whole entire move. Insane. Nvidia going green. Let's check out ASML, the chip stock. Had a nice rebound. Let's check out the S&P. S&P fell. Well, I told you that there was this inverse head and shoulders on the S&P. I told you that when we first started today. And look, it looks like it's going to try and head up there. Trump kind of made everyone kind of calm down and was like, I'm not going to fire JP. I'm not going to fire Jerome Powell. Yeah. Make sure to like and subscribe, guys. Give us a follow on Verified Investing. But yeah, Sarah says, thank you for your education, Lon. Of course, my pleasure. I'm happy to do so. All right, guys. With that being said, we're going to close it up, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. Again, my name is Lawton Ho here with Verified Investing. I'll be back here, same time, same place, 12:30 to 1:15. Drop me a follow on Twitter at Lawton Investing, and I hope to see you guys tomorrow. Have a great one, guys. Best of luck in the markets. Bye-bye.